let's come to you first of all, Hussain. I thought you were one of the most persuasive people I know. Why is your dad so resistant to you? What is he saying to you? What is he saying to you?
You know what? I feel like a lot of us where I'm living, there's a big Asian community here. And because there's been such an influx of news and fake news that's been spread, it's very difficult for our parents to find trusted, reliable sources. So I've taken it upon myself to just go on the World Health Organization and only try to push like official things out. But it's quite scary because like 1 minute there's like WhatsApp broadcasts of like the armies coming into town, and then there's this and there's that. So I think we don't know who to listen to. And then when I try and have these conversations with the elder people, it's a lot harder because everyone's telling a different story.
Yeah. Your dad has a restaurant, of course, Hussain, the food shop, and people in the community come in, and he has staff as well. Is there concern from his side that should he close that down, he's not going to be able to provide them with work and wages?
Yeah, we have that conversation a lot, and it's quite sad because obviously the workers have got rent to pay, has bills to pay as well. We were actually having that conversation in the morning. So we don't actually know what to do, but I think the shop will probably be closing in the next day or two now because it's just quiet. No one's really out anymore. The streets are actually deserted where I live, which is a rarity and a first.
I said it's tough, isn't it? Because your dad is of a generation, an older generation, where they essentially put themselves last. So they're thinking, oh, I can carry on, I can crack on with this, not realising that this is the time, in a way, to be a bit selfish.
Yeah, and I just think, like, they survived so many things. And right now it's interesting because we've got so many different generations alive at the same time. So who's right and who's wrong, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I just feel like we have to find ways to come together. And that's really interesting because we're being forced to now have conversations that we wouldn't normally have and discussions that we wouldn't normally have. And in a way, that is a blessing that's come from this. It is bringing a lot of people closer in our own homes. But it's definitely very myself as an artist. It's hard work. Other artists, their jobs have been cancelled as well. So figuring out how we're going to get through these next couple of months is a very traumatic
We're struggling a little bit with Hussain's line there. So let's come to Sheila, because, of course, Hussain's talking about his dad and trying to persuade his dad to take the warning seriously and filter out the bits of news that perhaps aren't as important or maybe aren't quite as true. How are you dealing with that, and what's your advice to people of your generation in terms of self-isolating and taking it seriously?
It's very difficult because we're so used to being independent that it's like all of a sudden I've had to accept the fact that I'm elderly. I'm 72 and I hear elderly 99 times a day, and I'm very proud. And people, my neighbors, my friends have offered to get groceries and things, and I'm really of two minds as to whether to let them, because I want to do it myself. So being isolated is one thing. I did it for 10 years in Mallorca, and there were like 3 flights a day in the winter. It's a ghost town there in the winter. But this is different because it's a matter of life and death. And I'm scared to death of my mom, 95. All my relatives are in America, and if something happens, I can't fly to them. And it's probably the scariest time I've ever had to live through.
I mean, you are very strong, you're very successful. I'm sure in so many ways you feel very powerful. But for many people, I think part of the problem of being told to stay at home is they feel disempowered, and it makes them more scared and more fearful. But we just have to remember that they have to do it, don't they, to keep health workers safe and to keep themselves safe.
I think you're right. We have to learn a new way of living, and it's going to bring out the best, the absolute best in people, because I've seen it. I've seen the love of absolute strangers, and In a way, it's even brought my daughters and I closer. We WhatsApp and we call and we're in contact every day. And my daughter and son-in-law in Dubai sent me a care package. They have everything in Dubai that you can't get here with of paracetamol and gloves and a thermometer. I didn't even have a thermometer. So that's kind of, my daughter in Cheshire sent me a Mother's Day card. I forgot it was Mother's Day on Sunday, you know, and it's like, there's so much love that we have to depend on each other in a different way. And in a way, as a gentleman before me said, it is bringing families closer together because they have to depend on each other.
One of those events, of course, Sheila, that people will be talking about is weddings, and not only weddings, sadly, all the other things that surround being at a church, with funerals as well. We've got the Reverend Steve Chalk in South East London for us this morning. Good morning to you, Steve. Thanks for joining us. I mean, waking up this morning, looking at the headlines in the newspapers, the Church of England saying that if you're having a wedding, no more than 5 people should be in the congregation. It's such an important time in anybody's life, a wedding that can take months, if not years, in preparation. To suddenly be told only 5 people can go is a really difficult, heartbreaking moment for the bride and groom, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a difficult moment for us all. But there are ways of thinking about this, of being creative, as you were saying earlier in the programme. And I'm responsible not just for a church in South London, Oasis Church in Waterloo, but I founded an organisation. We run 52 schools, etc., etc. We've heard news this morning about schools all being shut down. All of our 52 schools with our 30,000 students are going to reopen on Monday. We want people to home educate if they can, and we produce packages for that. But our church teams and our community teams, as well as our school staff, are going to be running those schools for children that are vulnerable. And then there are kids that are actually the main carers in the home. So we're going to be producing food for them to take home. Our food banks that our churches, we run more than one church around the country, they're going to be opening.